In this video, I'm going to go over exactly how I got my home service brand's close rate on qualified leads from 20% to about 34% year over year. Now, the way you do that takes a very specific structure, and you also have to understand the math behind everything. Now, when I say a qualified lead, here's what I mean. We have a lighting business, so a lot of people call in and we disqualify them on the phone, meaning we tell them what our minimum charge is, everything else, we kick them out. So for the sake of introduction to this video, when I say qualified lead, I mean, we've already given them a rough ballpark that it's the minimum cost $999. And then if they still want us to go out and give them an estimate, we'll go there. So if you have a window cleaning business or a lower ticket thing, your close rate's gonna be much more tied to just who calls in, but the process is exactly the same either way. So my close rate is directly rated to who got quotes given to them and how many said yes and gave us money. That's it. So with that being said, let's get into it. For those of you that don't know who I am, I have a lighting business, and my lighting business does $400,000 a month in Q4. It's seasonal. We've now added a permanent lighting leg to that. And so this year we'll do probably somewhere between 1.2 and 1.5 million in just that brand. I did not get there off of the same way I got to 100K a month, 200K a month, or 300K a month. So that's what this YouTube channel is. And then I also own the Home Service Accelerator, which is right here on my chest. I've helped, at the time of filming this video, I believe it's like 280 home service businesses take control of their marketing, their systems, and their sales operations without dumping all their money into agencies. So with that being said, let's dive right into it. So the biggest thing that most people get wrong when doing their close rate and everything else is they just go like, oh yeah, I just, I send quotes and then they say yes and they do whatever. I can't improve that. Or they go like, I need to go take an Andy Elliott sales training because I just need to get better at closing. Honestly, the majority of you don't need sales training. And I know it's crazy for you to hear me say that because sure, like, could you do some things when delivering the quote to draw out a little bit more pain, a little bit of everything else? Yes. But the majority of you can actually get the highest return off of just implementing something to help your speed to lead. And so what speed to lead essentially is speed to lead is the time that it takes you to get back to the lead that reached out to you first. Now, most people know that. However, it goes further than that. So there's speed to lead, right? So if I just go, so if I'm talking speed to, there's speed to lead. This is what most people understand. Most people have seen the Harvard Business Review studies that say if a company gets back to a prospect in less than 5 minutes, they have about a 60% higher chance of closing them. If they get back to the prospect in less than a minute, so 60 seconds, it goes up to about 300 something percent. So if you get 100 leads and you get back to them in a minute, and your competitor gets 100 leads and your competitor takes more than 5 minutes, you are going to run circles around them because people buy off of convenience. And most people, especially a lot of the people that watch my channel, are like either just getting their first employees or they're still the owner operators in the truck, or maybe they have like 1 or 2 crews on the road. So this is gonna be super applicable to you because what happens to a lot of guys, they're so busy doing fulfillment that they don't actually answer their phone. And then what happens? What's the typical structure that happens when a customer does this? So if you're taking more than 5 minutes to get back to a customer, when the customer goes to your website, they go to you first. They submit a form and then they wait. What does any logical thinking brain do after doing that? They go to competitor number 1 because they just went, oh, I just submitted for this window cleaning company. I might as well get another quote or 2. So they go to competitor 1, then they go to competitor 2, then you go to competitor 3, and then they just wait for people to come back. So why does getting back to people or giving them a semblance of an answer in under 60 seconds completely transform your business? Because if you get to them that fast and you give the majority of these people what they want, and in this case, it's they want a quote, they want to have an appointment, they want to just book you on the phone, whatever your process is, they'll stop reaching out to competitors because you took care of that for them. And that's the most ideal client anyway. That's who you want anyway. So I'm going to erase this and I'm going to keep going. So now we know why we want speed to lead. This is the problem that most guys run into is they try to do it manually, whatever else, and it just doesn't work out. They think they're being fast, but they're not. But speed to lead goes even further. There's speed to lead, and then there's speed to appointment. And what speed to appointment is let's say they submitted something online, you called them instantly, and then they're like, yeah, when's your next available appointment? And it's Monday at 8 a.m. And you're like, oh, I got jobs all day Tuesday. Okay, my next available, and then Wednesday, I'm going to this lunch with my friend. My next available appointment is Thursday. That is so much time for the customer to be like, I want it quicker, or I don't want to wait that long, or like I might as well just like call around because I didn't actually get my question answered right away. And so the gap between when the lead comes in, you call them, that's speed to lead. And then the gap between when you give them the desired outcome, which in a lot of your guys' cases is you go out for an estimate, that time, every minute that goes by is a minute for that customer to get distracted by something else, cancel your appointment, something will come up with the family, everything else. So then your lead to appointment rate will actually suffer because your cancellation rate will go up. And then there is also speed to, let me go back to here. There's also speed to job. And guess what that one is? Speed from quote approved to job. And the reason this is so important is your cancellation rate will even go down there. So even if you got the quote appointment, the estimate appointment, and then you booked a job, there's still a chance that you'll get cancellations there. Now, most of you guys should be taking some form of a deposit when they approve a quote to mitigate this. But even then, the more days you have between jobs or between quote and job, the higher your cancellation rate will be, the higher your moved job rate will be, all that jazz. And so all of this needs to be done in hyperspeed. Now, you're like, okay, but I'm busy, dude. I can't do that. This is what we did in our business. And let me share my screen in a different way to show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so one thing I'm not going to show you is the name of our current customers for obvious reasons. It doesn't belong on the internet, but here is our close rate. So the reason I'm showing you guys this is because I follow a lot of the other home service content creators, and I can tell you with confidence, the more I've talked to these guys, the more that half of them are completely lying about their numbers to show you a course or to shill you a course. So when you look at my numbers, here's what you want to see. Here's the one column. So 106 opportunities won for $440,000, 210 opportunities lost. That means we won 106 out of 316 opportunities. Now you're like, Steve, I thought you said you did 800K. The other 400, or I guess what it is, 360 something K, whatever it is returners or organic that came from previous years. So this column is all new closed business in 2025, which arguably is more impressive. And so if you look at this, this is about a 34% close rate. 106 yeses for 316 requests. And so this is super important because you have to be able to track this, because most of you guys don't know your true close rate. Most of you guys don't even know how many people asked you for estimates, and you never even got an answer back from them after the initial call out. And so what this system is this is Snipey Lead. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit more about that later and why it transformed the business so much, but I just wanted to show you the close rate to show you I'm not crazy. So here's where things get really good though, because all of this is really easy to implement and super easy to do. So all we need to do is optimize our speed to lead, because what happens when we optimize our speed to lead is we will end up booking more appointments. And if we know what our close rate is, we know that the more appointments we get, regardless of our close rate, the more at-bats we get, the more we're going to get jobs. And what's actually interesting is if you think about the psychology behind who buys based on convenience, the quicker you get to the people who buy based on convenience, they just want speed, 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 the higher your close rate is going to be, because those people care about price less. If you're taking 3 or 4 hours to get back to people, the people who are going to be the people you're giving quotes to and giving those things to are the people who are willing to wait 3, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, whatever, because they're gathering 8 quotes. And that's a terrible quality prospect. You want people to buy from you for different reasons. So let me show you where the system we implemented completely changed the game. So that system I showed you was a variation of Snipey Lead. That was for my Christmas light business. This is where how Snipey Lead works, and then I'll run you through exactly why it'll change the game. So customer goes to my website and they submit, right? So customer submits their info on our website or on our ads. So website, Facebook, Google. You can laugh at my handwriting, I don't care. So customer submits, right? Submits info, ask for a quote, whatever else. This is what Snipey Lead does. Customer submits info. The second they click submit, immediately our company phone rings. So here's a crappy version of a phone. That's supposed to be a phone, right? Boop, 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 boop. There you go. That's a phone. Looks like a candy cane, I guess, but that's a phone. So boop, 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 boop. The second they click submit, system goes boop, calls us and says, you have a new lead. Press any button to get connected. So we press any button. Now, if you have sales guys, you can make this go to sales guys. If you have an office staff, you can make it go to office. If it's you can make it go there. So this is step 1. Phone rings and says, you have a new lead. Press any button to get connected. So what do? We press a button. System immediately calls that lead. And what's the first thing that they say when the phone calls them and they answer? Every single time. Wow, you guys are fast. So what does that do? When we get to them immediately, what we're doing is we are stopping a huge percentage of these people from calling your competitors, because a huge percentage of these people will just go with you because you got them what they wanted fast. Because if you are a company who calls and has that level of follow-up and everything else, it immediately builds like this company has their SHIT together feel to your customers. And that's what you want. So that's the scenario where they answer, they go, wow, you guys are so fast. Yes. Because again, think about the process. They just submitted a form. They've never been hotter and more in the mood. They just submitted a form on their own to get reached out to by you. Every second and minute that passes from the moment they press submit, your chances of closing that completely fall off a cliff. So speedily there. Now, here's where it gets really good. What happens if they don't answer? The system drops them a voicemail, a pre-recorded voicemail when they don't answer. So you don't even have to be like, hi, this is Steve. So just system immediately drops them a voicemail. And it says, like, I have a pre-recorded one that goes to everybody. It says, hey, this is Steve with Valley Premier Lighting. Thank you so much for reaching out to us. It looks like we missed you. I'm going to send you a follow-up text now. Feel free to reach back out to me there or call me back and we can get you started on your quote. The second that voicemail drops, the Snipey Lead system also sends a text that says, hey, it's Steve with Valley Premier Lighting. Just left you a voicemail. Feel free to shoot me back here. Now, customer responds to that text or calls back. It moves them to what's called the hot inbound lead section. I'll show you in a sec. If the customer does not respond, the system will wait. 12 hours later, within business hours, it will send another follow-up text. And it says like, hey, thanks so much for reaching out. Just following up. Is everything okay? Or it'll say, I don't even remember what ours says. I'll look it up. It says something like, just checking to see if you still want to get this done. You would be stunned at how many people respond to the second text nurture. And then there's another one that comes 24 hours later that says, just like, you can customize them, but I think ours says like, just trying to close the loop on this. Is this something you're still interested in? Guys, last Friday, and I will show you the conversation. We closed a $5,000 job, same day, and they did not respond until the third text nurture because people are busy. But what most of you guys are doing is texting and calling them once, and then they're never hearing from you again. And that is the problem. So I'm going to pull up my system and show you guys it in real time. I should also note the automations are different outside of business hours. So it's not going to leave a voicemail and drop people at 1 a.m. if they submit a lead then. These only work during business hours. Outside of business hours, I have mine set up to where they submit the form. They get a text that says, you reached out to Valley Premier Lighting outside of business hours. We'll reach back out to you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. or something like that. And then they just like go from there. It's fantastic. It doesn't call them. It doesn't leave them a voicemail at 1 a.m. or 11 p.m., even if they submit after hours. Super important to note that because some people are like, well, I don't want them doing that at 2 a.m. It doesn't do it at 2 a.m. All right. So once again, I'm on the desktop version here. The only column I'm not going to show you is my one column. This is for basically the last month or so. It's like a month and a week. We launched this brand and this Snipey Lead account about, at the time of filming this, maybe about 40 something days ago. And our phone number got approved far less. So don't look too much into like the close rate or anything like that because these were going into Snipey Lead for like 3 or 4 weeks when the SMS number wasn't approved. And so we weren't nurturing them properly at all. The second the phone number got approved, of course, we got a substantially higher close rate. So this is how it works. Because it's only first names on most of these, I don't care about showing you because you won't even know who it is and there's no address. So when they submit on our website, they get put into the nurture and they go to inbound lead in this column. So if it connects them with on the phone, then, you know, we move them to like, quotes, in-person estimate scheduled or whatever else. If they don't answer, it starts with the automation and it goes in inbound lead. The second they respond to that text or they call back or anything else, the system automatically moves them to the hot inbound lead column. So what happens every day when we get into the office the first thing in the morning, the first thing we do is go to the hot inbound lead column, or there's a mobile app for this too. You can do it on your phone. We call the hot inbound leads back first because they've already responded via text or called or anything else. And so we deal with them first and then we nurture and deal with everyone else. So, yeah, I guess you can see we did $40,000 in sales. And I think 28,000 of those came last week. So the second the phone number got approved and then our ads, we published our ads and everything once the SMS number got approved, we just started cranking. So we're pretty excited about it going forward, but this is an unbelievable tool. And so this is the desktop version. The cool thing about this too is every 2 weeks or so, these move from inbound lead. Like if they never respond to any nurture, typically we'll drag them or set a timer to automatically put them in this column, which is like the reached out or left voicemail column. And what's interesting about that is at the end of the month or end of 2 weeks or something like that, I can run an automation that will automatically text this entire column with their first name. So it'll say, hey, Thomas, hey, Ashley, hey, Will, hey, Jeffrey, like whatever's there. It'll say that. And then I'll say like, hey, I'm just closing the loop on this. I know we've reached out a few times. You guys submitted a thing on our website to get a quote and we haven't heard back. So do you want me to keep following up or is this something you're not interested in now? We just did one like 5 days ago, and like 6 or 7 people responded a month later. 3 of them said, no, we're not interested, thank you. And then 2 of them were like, or 2 or 3 of them were like, yeah, come out for a quote. And then one of the guys was like, yeah, I want you to come out in a month when my house is done. So again, without Snipey Lead and everything else, we would have never followed up with these people again because it's just too much going on. And so this completely transformed our close rate and like transformed every single thing about the business. The other thing that's pretty cool about this is like when we drag them to like the closed one column or anything like that, it immediately will send them a review link. And the wildest part about this is it sends them a review link that first opens up like a page in Snipey Lead that says like 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, leave a review. If they click 4 or 5 stars, it'll open up Google Business and leave a 5-star review. If they click 1, 2, or 3 stars, it opens up a fake review page and says like, oh, tell us how we can be better, but it won't give us a 1 star on our Google Business page. So wild little evil trick there. Almost every national brand does that. You just don't even realize they do it. But that's just like one trick that we do in Snipey. So I'm going to show you the SMS nurture in action right now. Okay, I'm trying to be strategic because I don't want to give away any of the customer info. So here's the way it worked. We called, it didn't connect. So then we reached out with an SMS. The first one didn't get responded to. Second one didn't get responded to. The third one, the next day, got responded to. And then they said, yes, I would like a quote. Ended up going out, getting all that, closing it same day for $5,000. Now, this is insane. This is a completely lost opportunity for 99% of you. This is why systems and automations work. This is why 7, 8, and 9-figure home service brands all have this stuff built out, and why little guys don't, because little guys think it's really expensive to do this, and so they never do it. And then the big guys get these enterprise systems and just get richer. And so the other cool thing too is like you can actually, down here, you can click SMS, it'll show her phone number, that's why I'm not doing it. But you can keep texting her right here, or you can click this button and switch to internal comments, and then you can make notes on the prospect in here that your entire team can see, conversations you had, everything else, that won't go to them. So again, this is a perfect example. This is I paid a $97 a month for Snipey Lead, and this immediately paid for itself 50 times based on just getting me one more $5,000 up. And we get a lot more than just $5,000 off of second and third texts and follow-ups and opportunity tracking. So this is a no-brainer. It's a go high level white label. Like I didn't recreate the wheel here. I just made one that's really good for home service businesses. I made it for Valley Christmas first internally. I used it so well. I talked to people at Home Service Accelerator. They're like, can we have that? So I went around, white labeled it, created Snipey Lead. If you guys want it, it's $97 a month. It is an absolute no-brainer. I'll put a link in the description. You can sign up, onboard, and get yourself ready in like less than 5 days. So super worth it. Like this is the biggest no-brainer for 99.9% of you guys watching this. It's the easiest $100 you'll ever spend a month. And then I do want to preface this. I still use Jobber. So we use Snipey Lead up until it's time to build the quote. And then we still build the quote in Jobber, send the invoice in Jobber, schedule in there. So what Snipey Lead thrives in is what Jobber is the worst at, or House Call Pro is the worst at. And that's SMS nurturing, appointment booking, follow-up, marketing, everything else. Like email, all that stuff, Jobber's terrible at, House Call Pro is terrible at. They offer half of the stuff I just mentioned, but it's a terrible version of it. This one's really good. So we use Snipey Lead up until we go out to the customer and build the quote. Then we build the quote in Jobber, and I have them communicating with each other. And you can do that too. Super easy. So hope this video helped. If you do, even if you don't use Snipey Lead, like any form of call connecting service is going to be a no-brainer for you.